What's going on, guys? So I just finished watching Gran Torino, and I was actually pretty surprised. It was actually a pretty hilarious movie. It was pretty funny. Like, it had a bunch of, cliched plot lines and stuff like that, but hilarious. Clint Eastwood had me laughing a lot. I don't think I've laughed so much at a movie in a very long time. I was surprised at how, not really comedic, but just the shit that comes out of his mouth is just hilarious. He, walks up to this Asian family and calls them zipperheads and gooks to their house and calls them crazy and, dumb and stuff. It's hilarious. It's very racist, but it was just the way his mannerisms and his charisma in the movie is just hilarious. He just rolled up on these black guys what are you spooks up to? And, he's saving the Asian girl and stuff. Really, really funny. It's a 2008 movie directed by Clint Eastwood, also starring Clint Eastwood. The movie starts off at his wife's funeral. She just died, and Clint Eastwood's playing a character called Walt Kowalski, and he's just standing there judging his family, and there's his sons are there, and they're all probably in their 40s, and they have families of their own, and they're staring at his grandkids, and there's, they're not dressed appropriate for a funeral at all. There's a girl there with her belly button showing, and dressed like a tramp in general, and one of them's wearing a football jersey. Another one makes fun of he goes spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch and stuff. They're all giggling. He's just grumbling to himself. He plays the grumbliest, most bitter old man ever. But yeah, he hates his family, hates his kids, hates his grandkids. He lives alone in his house. At the funeral dinner or whatever it is after, whatever it's called after a funeral, I can't remember. They're just back at their place eating food and stuff, and he's just bitching to everybody and tearing people's heads off at the show, at the whatever reception. I have no idea what it's called. But anyway, he goes outside to have a cigarette, and he notices this Asian family moving in next door. They turn out to be a family of Hmongs, but he plays a Korean vet, so he hates all Asian people and calls them zips and stuff. And it's just the most racist person ever. And there's also a priest there, a 27-year-old Irish priest. I didn't pick up his name, but he was very persistent because he was close friends with Walter's wife, and he's telling him that he wanted him to go to confession because it was his wife's dying wish that Walt, confess all his sins and stuff, because he's been parodying a lot of stuff throughout his life. Anyway, so the Hmong family, there's a son named Tao next door, and they got a bunch of kids there. There's Sue's another one of the main characters in the movie, and Tao has a cousin who's in a gang, and he's trying to get Tao to join this gang, and one of his initiations was to steal Clint Eastwood's 1972 Gran Torino mint condition that he keeps hidden in his garage. He doesn't drive it around much, just cleans it every day and just stares at it a lot most of the time. So Walter's sleeping in his bed, notices there's some lights going on in his garage, goes out there with a gun, trips over a toolbox, and Tao bolts out the door. And time elapses, and then the gang comes back to come pick up Tao another night later. And there's a fight between the family because Tao doesn't want to go, and the sister tries to help out, and there's all this kind of hullabaloo going on, and the fight spills over onto Walter's property because they're just living next door to each other. And he comes out with his rifle again, tells everyone to get off his lawn, and that he used to kill sweatbacks like those and stack them 5 feet high back in the war and use them as sandbags, and they're all whoa, crazy. He's always playing this character that goes around saving people from different races, oh, I'll save you from the Korean gang, I'll save you from the black gang, I'll save you from this gang, the Mexicans. This is the old man who's just a crime fighter in his neighborhood or something. He's hilarious though. Anyway, so the family starts, they say Clint Eastwood saves Tao, the son, and makes friends with the daughter, and the family's leaving him gifts on their porch because I guess that's part of their tradition, is to leave flowers and food there, and he's all what the fuck, and he's throwing it away. So they offer their son to come, be his little servant for 2 weeks or something, just do jobs around the house. And the first job Clint Eastwood gives Tao is just to count the birds in a tree, because he calls him pussy cake a lot, calls him frog, calls him toad, just makes fun of him a lot, just calls him a little pussy, and just belittles him nonstop. It's actually really funny. And gradually he'll get more and more work, but Walter Kowalski's a guy who takes pride in doing his own yard work. So he notices this dilapidated house across the street and just sends Tao over there to clean the gutters and fix the roof and stuff. And, he's turning him into a man and all this shit. And eventually Sue, the Tao's sister, invites Walter over for a you know, a barbecue and his food. It was on his birthday too, and his one of his oldest son and his wife came over to buy him a cake and tried to put him in a home and bought him a phone with big numbers on it. Just insulted him. So Walter kicks out his kids on his birthday, gets invited to the barbecue, goes there, has a couple beers, he's making friends with everyone, offending everyone there, because I guess in Hmong culture you can't tap people on the heads because they think the soul resides in the head, and he taps a little young girl on the head and everyone gasps. And like the daughter's trying to explain to him that, yeah, you can't pat people on the heads because the soul lives in there. He's like, that sounds pretty dumb, but okay. It's just hilarious. He's just belittling these people. He's like, how many sweatbacks can you fit in one room? Because there's so many people there, and it's just like, ugh. Anyway, the whole time he's coughing up blood, and eventually goes to a hospital to get checked out. And I didn't see what the medical notes said. It was too small to read, but I'm pretty sure it's probably something like cancer and stuff. But eventually, like, the whole gang situation with the Asian gang escalates, and Sue gets beaten up and raped, and they do a drive-by on the house, and like no one got killed in the drive-by, but Tao got shot and it grazed his neck. And so eventually they want revenge, and Walter locks Tao in his basement and, you know, handles business himself. I don't want to tell you how it ends at the very end. But yeah, pretty funny movie. Pretty racist, but it's also very, very comedic, I guess. Like the old lady there just hates them. They hate each other, and they're like having spitting contests and stuff like that. Pretty funny. It had a pretty good, you know, statement too, but not about like racial things. It's about, you know, how sucky it must be to have yuppie kids, and like I personally really hate yuppies too, and like look at these stupid jerks, and he's like, oh, I work in sales and this is my wife, and they're just patronizing him the whole time. Fucking stupid yuppies and their dumb yuppie kids. But yeah, he played a good character. I could relate to him. Like, I don't know if I'm as bitter a guy as this guy, but he's really, really bitter, and he, you know, tells it like it is, and, you know, people laugh at him just because he's so rude, just blatantly rude, and him socializing with his friends, calling them, like, crazy Italian pricks and stuff, and he tries to get Tao a job at the construction company at some point, and there's an Irish guy there, and, like, he lets Tao get the job, and he's like, alright, let's leave this, Irish prick here to play with himself, and he walks out. It's like, who says that? But yeah, it's pretty funny. I actually enjoyed this movie a lot, even though, like I said, it had a lot of, you know, plot cliches and shit like that, but hilarious. Like, it's a pretty funny movie. I was surprised by how funny it is, and it's probably ripe for parody. There should be, like, some YouTube parodies done about this show, but yeah, pretty funny stuff. I actually laughed a lot through this movie. I haven't laughed this much in a long, long time at a movie, that's for sure. Honest to God truth. Gran Torino 2008.